Hi guys, welcome back to 421 Fishing with your host Craig Smith. I'm going to do a shorter video tonight. I'm going to do this one on cranking. I have here with me just a few different types of crankbaits. I have a Rick Clun Ghost Shad Square Bill. I have a Rapala DT6, which is your typical spoonbill crankbait that you see most of the time. I've got the Shad Wrap again. I've got a Bill Lewis rattle trap in crawl color. And here's the biggest difference between all these crankbaits. With the Shad Wrap, you can throw this on a bait caster if you want. I like them on a spinning rod combo because they are so light. And I don't think they cast well to bait caster, so I always use a spinning reel with about 8-pound test when I'm throwing a Shad Wrap. I will just use my normal cranking stick with this, like I will with my square bill, but with the Rapala TT6, it is that spoon bill. And remember guys, these will catch fish all year round, but I tend to like to use your spoon bills when the water's a little cooler because they have very subtle action, kind of like that. They don't have a lot of action cutting through the water. So when the fish get real active, the fish want something that's really going to pop and get their attention when the water gets warm. These don't. These have a little subtle action, which is kind of what they like when they're lethargic and they've got lockjaw. I think these work better then. You can also bump up. This is a DT6. They have a DT10 too, where it catches fish very well. Square bill. This is best to me throwing shallow towards the bank, banging through cover. And these things have really erratic action. They will just wobble, wobble, wobble. And when you bang them off cover, no crankbait is foolproof from getting hung. But these will get hung a lot less than your spoon bills will or your round bills. These will hit those pilings or hit rock, stump, whatever, and they'll bounce right off, and you will get a lot of reaction bites like that with square bills. This time of year, when the water's up in the 70s, the fish move shallow. I don't care whether it's pre-spawn, if they are spawning, or if it's post-spawn, I'll throw these. Then your rattle trap. I prefer the Bill Lewis original rattle trap. Strike King's lipless works well, as does several other companies. But the thing with these is I will always go with the medium heavy, because you're kind of jigging these the way I like to fish them. Let it sink a little, slow retrieve, and jig it up and down. And I like to have a little bit stiffer backbone, so that's why I'll use a medium heavy. I'll use this rod here. This is my Quantum Octane. It's a medium heavy. As you can see, it's got real good backbone, but it's got a nice fast tip. So this works real well with top water, and it works real well with the rattle traps. But I want to show you my setup here. This is my normal cranking setup. It is a 7'2" American Rod Smith cranking stick. It is not a medium action or medium heavy. This is a cranking stick. This is specifically what this is made for throwing a crankbait. And I have it on a Pinnacle Inertia 6:3-to-1 gear ratio 9-ball bearing bait caster. 10-pound P-line floor clear. And as you can see with the cranking stick, this is very minimal effort, and it is just bending. And it's going to pretty much look like that when you're cutting that crankbait through the water. And the reason having a cranking stick when you're cranking is so important is because if you're throwing just a standard medium action rod, yes, they have a little more play than your medium heavies, but they're still stiffer, and you still got to give them some pull to bend them over. As with the cranking stick, those guys just bend with very minimal effort. I mean, you catch a small bluegill on a cranking stick and that thing's going to be bent over like that. I don't care. But you'll lose a lot of fish with just standard medium action or medium heavy action. And the reason for that is I like fluorocarbon on my bait casters. I know guys that throw copolymer, or they'll throw monofilament because it stretches a little bit and it keeps from pulling the hook out of the fish's mouth or getting that one hook thing. But the only problem with the monofilament to me is it does have so much stretch. So yes, it can help setting a hook with a cranking stick if you're using a medium heavy or a medium action. But if you're throwing monofilament on a cranking stick, not only do you have stretch in the line, but this rod has got so much play in it that it's basically given too. So you're not getting a real good hook set there. And if you do get him, you're going to skin hook him with the back treble hook. And you don't want to do that. So please, guys, make sure you get a cranking stick. And it will say cranking stick on it, I promise you. H2O makes them. American Rod Smith makes them. Quantum makes them. Every company makes them. Just always go with the cranking stick because you can use that fluorocarbon. And because there's your line stretch. You have no line stretch, so there's your equivalent to it. It's the very, 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 very flimsy tips on the cranking sticks. And that will help from pulling the bait out of his mouth. You'll get better hook sets. Remember, you ain't got a jackfish on a crankbait, guys. Just when you feel him, make sure your line's tight and just pull with him. You'll hook him. I promise. And a neat little hack right before we go, guys. I want to show you with the rattle trap. I'm not going to actually do it, but I'm going to explain to you how to do this. This is fish mostly in open and deeper water. But what you can do is, because we all know how well these catch fish, you can use these in cover throwing towards the bank. Remove this back hook. Completely remove it. Take the front hook and downsize the treble hook. This bait will run just like that through the water. And by pulling this back hook off and downsizing the front treble hook, you'll, of course, like the square bill, it can still get hung up, but it makes it to where it gets hung up a lot less often, and you can get it through that cover between stumps and rocks and laydowns or whatever, and you can get a lot of bites up close on the bank fishing these rattle traps that way. That's just a neat little hack if you ever want to try it. Just pull that back hook off, downsize your front treble hook, and you can catch fish and cover with the rattle trap. Something some people know, some people don't, and if you don't, give that one a shot, guys. That is real cool. But that's it for tonight, guys. I just wanted to give that short video to y'all real quick. Thanks for checking my videos out. Check out my other ones. I got some good ones, and I got some other ones coming up here pretty soon, and probably in the next few days. I will not be making videos for the next 3 days. I've got a pretty busy schedule for the next 3 days, but I'll be back probably Sunday, guys. Don't forget to like my videos, subscribe to my page. Questions and answers, we can do that if y'all want to leave comments. Thanks, guys. Y'all have a good night. 421 Fishing.